Man, if someone had told me a random Uber ride would completely change my life, I would have laughed in their face. But that Tuesday morning, holy hell, I still can't believe what happened. It all started when some guy paid me $500 to look for aliens around the city. I thought, easy money, right? But when those lights showed up in the sky, dude, it was nothing like I imagined. And what I found out later, this isn't some sci-fi story. It's way worse, or better. Depends on how you look at it. My name is Julio, I'm 34, and I've been driving for Uber in Los Angeles for 5 years. I've seen it all on this job, man. Drunks throwing up in the back seat, couples fighting, a dude talking to himself, an influencer crying because they lost followers. But what happened that Tuesday morning was a whole other level of messed up. It was around 2 a.m., and I was thinking about calling it a night because it was pretty dead. Then a ride request popped up on the app. Pickup, Hollywood. Boulevard, destination, to be determined. That immediately made me suspicious. Who requests a ride to be determined at 2 a.m.? I got to the spot and saw a guy, maybe 40, skinny, round John Lennon glasses, messy hair, holding a giant backpack that looked heavier than him. The guy was just staring up at the sky like a lost puppy. "Are you the Uber?" he asked, still looking up. "Yeah, that's me, sir. You're..." I checked the app. "Cosmic?" "That's me," he said, getting in the car. "Listen, Julio, I need your help with a very important mission." I immediately got nervous. Mission? What the hell was he talking about? "What kind of mission is that, boss?" I asked, trying to stay calm. The guy opened his backpack and pulled out some weird stuff. Binoculars, a flashlight that looked like it was for construction, something I couldn't even identify, and a stack of cash that made my eyes light up. $500, he said, showing me the bills, for you to drive me through the UFOs, northern neighborhoods looking for UFOs. For a second, I thought it was a prank. I looked around for a hidden camera, but the dude was dead serious. "UFOs?" I repeated, just to make sure I heard him right. "Unidentified flying objects, yes. I have privileged information that there will be intense extraterrestrial activity in the northern region of the city tonight. The Valley, North Hollywood, Burbank, that area." The guy spoke as if it was the most normal thing in the world. And hey, $500 is $500, right? That was almost a week's worth of work for me. "All right, I'm in. But just to be clear, if the cops show up, I don't know anything. Got it?" "Perfect." He clapped his hands. "Oh, you can call me Cosmic. It's my stage name." Cosmic? Stage name? What was I getting myself into? We left Hollywood Boulevard and headed north. Traffic was fine, obviously. It was 2 a.m. on a Tuesday. Cosmic kept staring at the sky through the window, sometimes grabbing the binoculars and pointing them up. "Cosmic, can I ask you something?" I said, because the silence was getting awkward. "Of course. What do you do for a living? Like, professionally?" He gave a weird little laugh. "I'm a researcher. I research things most people don't believe exist. Like aliens, among other things. Bigfoot, chupacabra, ghosts, Illuminati. But my specialty is extraterrestrials. Man, I was starting to think the guy was crazy. But $500. We got to North Hollywood, and he asked me to drive slowly, through the darker streets. Cosmic rolled down the window and stuck his head out, binoculars to his face. "Stop here," he suddenly said. I pulled over on Ventura Boulevard. The guy got out of the car and started pointing the binoculars at the sky. I watched from the window. He was taking this whole thing really seriously. Suddenly, he ran back to the car, super hyped. "Julio, Julio, did you see? Did you see the lights?" "What lights?" I asked, looking where he was pointing. "There, 3 points of light moving in a triangular formation." I looked up and, damn, there were some lights there, small, kind of yellowish, moving in a different way. It wasn't a plane, I was sure of that. "Holy crap," I muttered. "What is that?" "UFO," Cosmic almost yelled. "I knew it! They're here!" The guy started taking pictures with a professional high-end cell phone. The lights stayed in the sky for about 2 minutes, and then disappeared. "Quick," he said, getting in the car. "Let's go to Burbank. They must be moving in that direction." Man, I'm not gonna lie, those lights got me thinking. What the hell was that, really? I'd never seen anything like it in my life. We drove to Burbank, and Cosmic repeated the process. He'd stop at strategic points, get out, and look at the sky with his binoculars. On the third stop, on Magnolia Boulevard, the lights appeared again. This time, they were closer. "Oh my God," I said quietly. "This isn't normal." "Normal?" Cosmic laughed. "Julio, my friend, what is normal? Do you think it's normal for humanity to be alone in the universe? Midnight philosophy, right?" But the guy had a point. Those lights were real. I was seeing them with my own eyes. "Cosmic, can I ask a more personal question?" "You can." "How did you know there would be extraterrestrial activity today?" He was quiet for a while, as if he was weighing whether he should say anything. "I have my sources," he finally answered. "People who work in strategic places. Airports, control towers, Air Force bases." "Seriously?" "Seriously. And they told me tonight would be a special night." By this point, I was completely invested. I'd forgotten it was just a ride. I wanted to find out what the hell was happening in the skies over Los Angeles. "Where to now?" I asked. "The valley, specifically the area around the old Northridge Mall. There's a very strong energy point there." "Energy point?" "It's complicated to explain. But some places on Earth have a different kind of energy that attracts visitors." We drove to the valley, and man, things started to get even crazier. First, I noticed we weren't the only ones on the street. There were other cars stopped at random spots, people with binoculars, cameras. "Cosmic, are there more people looking for UFOs today?" "Oh yeah, the American UFO community is very close-knit. When someone gets a tip, they share it." "UFO community?" Man, I was discovering a parallel world that existed in my own city. We stopped near the old Northridge Mall, and Cosmic got out with all his gear. This time, I got out too. I don't know. Curiosity was stronger. "Look over there!" He pointed at the sky. The lights appeared again, but this time there were more of them. 5, 6 points of light moving in perfect sync. Some cars started honking, people yelling, "Look! Film it!" It was surreal, man. Like a UFO observation party in the middle of a Tuesday night. But that's when things started to get really strange. A black van pulled up next to us, and 3 guys in suits got out. In the middle of the night. In suits. "Cosmic," I called out quietly. "I think we should split." But the guy was mesmerized by the lights, taking pictures like crazy. One of the men in suits walked towards us. "Excuse me," he said, all polite-like. "Did you see anything unusual in the sky tonight?" Man, my internal alarm bell started ringing. What the hell was this? "No, sir," I answered quickly. "We were just taking a drive." The guy looked at Cosmic, who was still taking pictures, oblivious to everything. "Your friend seems very interested in astronomy," the man in the suit said, with a smile that didn't reach his eyes. That's when Cosmic finally noticed them. And man, his reaction was He grabbed his backpack, pulled me into the car, and yelled, "Go, Julio, go!" And you think I questioned it? I floored the accelerator, and we sped out of there. In the rearview mirror, I saw the guys in suits running after us. The black van started to follow us. "What the hell is going on?" I yelled, taking a turn on two wheels. "They can't get the photos," Cosmic yelled back, clutching the camera to his chest. "What photos? Who are these guys?" "I'll explain later. Just go." Man, if someone had told me that morning that I'd spend the night running from men in black after spotting a UFO, I'd have had them committed. But there I was, in the middle of a car chase straight out of a movie. And the worst part, the van was still on our tail. Man, if you think the night couldn't get any crazier, just wait until you hear what happened next. Because finding out there were UFOs flying over Los Angeles was just the beginning of this unbelievable story. I've been driving for Uber for 5 years, and I've been through a lot. I've run from muggings, fled from bar fights, and gotten into brawls with cab drivers, but I had never, ever run from men in black because my passenger photographed a UFO. The van was glued to my bumper. I took the I-5 and floored it. My Honda Civic isn't a Ferrari, but at that moment, it was flying. "Cosmic!" I yelled over the noise of the strained engine. "Who are these guys?" "The government!" he yelled back, still holding the camera. "They don't want the truth revealed." "What truth, damn it?" "That the aliens have been here for decades, and the government knows everything." Look, up until that moment I thought Cosmic was a little crazy, but I don't. No, this chase felt way too real to be a crazy person's fantasy. I took the Van Nuys exit and started zigzagging through the neighborhood streets. I knew that area like the back of my hand, a definite advantage of being a local. The van was still behind us, but it was losing ground. "Cosmic, what's the real deal with this?" I asked, slowing down a little. "You're not just some random researcher, are you?" He took a deep breath, still checking the rearview mirror. "Julio, what I'm about to tell you is going to sound crazy, but I work for an international group of ufologists. We monitor extraterrestrial activity all over the world." "International group? Like the Illuminati?" "No, man, quite the opposite. We're fighting against the cover-up. We're the good guys." I pulled the car over on a dark street in Van Nuys. The van had disappeared, at least for now. "Okay, but how do you know where the UFOs are going to show up?" Cosmic looked around, paranoid, before answering. "Because they aren't aliens, Julio." "What do you mean they aren't aliens? We saw those lights." "You did, but they weren't extraterrestrials. They were human." Man, at that moment my brain completely glitched. Humans? What humans would do that? "A company," he whispered, as if the walls had ears. "A multi-million-dollar startup that's testing a revolutionary drone technology. But they're using the UFO narrative to cover up the tests." Wait. You're telling me those lights were drones? Ultra-modern military drones with technology that doesn't officially exist. They do the tests late at night at specific times, always at the same spots in the city. And how do you know that? Cosmic opened his backpack and pulled out a tablet. He showed me a screen full of graphs, coordinates, times. Because we've been monitoring them for months, we discovered the pattern. Tuesday and Thursday nights, always between 2 and 4 a.m. The valley. Specific points that form a perfect triangle on the map. Man, I looked at that data, and it started to make sense. The precision of the lights, the synchronized movement. But why were the guys in suits chasing us? Company security. They can't let information about the tests leak. Imagine the scandal if people found out a private company was testing military weapons in the skies over Los Angeles. Military weapons? Man, these drones are capable of things you can't even imagine. Mass surveillance, facial recognition, from miles away, interfering with cell phone signals. Man, I was starting to understand why the guys in suits wanted those photos so badly. Cosmic. What's the name of this company? SkyTech Solutions. They're headquartered in Beverly Hills, but the tests are done here in the Valley because it's far from the commercial airports. SkyTech Solutions. I committed the name to memory. And what's your plan? To expose them? Exactly. But I need irrefutable proof. Photos, videos, exact coordinates. And why me? Why didn't you just get a regular Uber? He laughed for the first time that night. Because you're Julio 5-star, man. You have a 4.8 plus rating, 1,000 plus rides. Your profile says you're reliable and know the city better than a GPS. Damn, the guy had researched me. That was both kind of creepy and kind of flattering. Okay, but what now? Have they lost us? For now. But they'll be at the usual spots. We have to be smarter. What do you mean, we? I just accepted a $500 ride. Julio, he looked at me seriously. What we saw today could change everything. This isn't just about drones or companies testing technology. It's about transparency, about truth. Man, Cosmic spoke with a passion I'd never seen. The guy really believed in his cause. All right, I said, against my better judgment. What do you want me to do? Help me collect more evidence. I know 3 more spots where they do tests. If we can document everything, we'll have enough material to expose SkyTech. And what's the pay? $1,000, plus a $500 bonus if we get something really explosive. Man, $1,500? That was like 3 weeks of work. And honestly, after seeing those lights, after the chase, I was curious to find out how the story ended. Deal, I said, extending my hand. He shook my hand and smiled. Welcome to the Resistance, Julio. Resistance? What a mess I was getting myself into. We left there and went to the next spot. Burbank, near the mall. Cosmic explained that the drones always took a circular route through the test points. They should show up here in 20 minutes, he said, checking his tablet. How are you so sure? Pattern, man. These guys are methodical. Always the same times, always the same routes. We stopped on a side street off the main avenue. Cosmic set up some equipment that looked like a miniature satellite dish. What's that? A radio frequency detector. If the drones are nearby, this thing will beep. Top-of-the-line technology, huh? The guy wasn't kidding. We waited, and right on cue, the detector started beeping. Seconds later, the lights appeared in the sky. This time, I got a better look. There were 5 objects flying in a perfect formation, changing direction in sync, going up and down with a precision that didn't seem natural. Cosmic. Are these things big? Each one is about the size of a compact car. That's why they look small from up here. And they must cost a fortune. Millions. Each drone must cost around $5 million. Holy crap. $25 million flying over our heads. Cosmic started filming with a professional video camera, the kind a cinematographer uses. The guy was really prepared. Now you film too. He handed me his cell phone. Document our exact location, the time, everything. I started filming kind of awkwardly. I had never done journalistic investigation in my life. That's when we heard the sound of a car approaching. Too fast to be normal traffic late at night. They found us, Cosmic whispered. 2 black vans appeared at the end of the street. This time, they were prepared. One blocked our way out. The other came towards us. Now what, man? Cosmic put away the equipment with impressive speed. Do you know a place to hide around here? I know a mechanic's shop that's open 24 hours. My cousin works there. Let's go. We drove towards the shop, but the vans had already surrounded the area. We were forced to stop. 6 guys in suits got out. This time, they were armed. Shit, I muttered. One of them approached the driver's side window. I rolled down the window. "Good evening, Mr. Julio Santos Silva," he said, reading my full name. "Social security number ending in 47. Holy crap, these guys knew everything about me. "We just want to talk," the guy continued, "about the photos you took tonight." "What photos?" I tried to play innocent. "Mr. Julio, please. We know you documented unauthorized aerial activity. We need those files. And what if we don't want to hand them over?" The guy smiled that creepy smile. "I think you'll want to. The easy way." Cosmic leaned over to me and whispered, "Julio, there's something I haven't told you yet." "What?" "I'm not just a researcher. I'm an investigative journalist. I work for CNN. Holy crap. The plot twist I didn't see coming. And there's more," he continued. "SkyTech isn't just testing drones. They're doing industrial espionage, stealing data from rival companies using this technology." Man, things had just gotten a lot more serious. The man in the suit knocked on the window again. "Last warning, gentlemen." That's when Cosmic did something that changed everything. He grabbed his cell phone and pressed a button. "Live stream activated," he said loudly for everyone to hear. "We are live for 5,000 followers on Instagram." The men in suits looked at each other. The situation had completely changed. "Hey, everyone," Cosmic yelled at the phone. "This is Cosmic, live from Los Angeles, where we're being intimidated by a company that doesn't want you to know the truth about the UFOs that have been appearing in the city." Man, the guy was a genius. He turned a terrible situation into a golden opportunity. The men in suits backed away and started talking on their radios. You could tell they didn't know how to handle the live stream. "Cosmic, you're a genius son of a bitch," I whispered. "The key. Truth always finds a way to come out, Julio." And that's when things took on a scale neither of us expected. Man, if there's one thing I learned that night, it's that the power of the internet is a scary thing. In a matter of 15 minutes, what was a live stream for 5,000 people became a trending topic on Twitter. UFO Los Angeles. SkyTech exposed. John Cosmic investigates. The men in suits stood there for about 10 minutes talking on their radios, looking at us, clearly not knowing what the hell to do. The live stream kept going, and the comments wouldn't stop coming in. "Dude, is this real? Where's the mainstream media? Go Cosmic! Julio, you're awesome!" Holy crap. I had become an overnight celebrity without even trying. "Everyone," Cosmic said to his phone, "what you're seeing here is a clear attempt at censorship. SkyTech Solutions doesn't want you to know that they're illegally testing military technology over the city of Los Angeles." The comments exploded. People sharing, asking questions, other ufologists joining the live stream. That's when one of the men in suits approached again. "Gentlemen, let's do this. You end this broadcast, and we'll talk civilly." "No," Cosmic answered firmly. "Transparency is fundamental in a democracy." The guy was pissed, you could tell, but he couldn't do anything with 5,000 people watching. "Julio," he addressed me, "do you have a family?" Man, that was a punch to the gut. A veiled threat, right to my face. "Everyone," I said to my phone, trying to control the tremble in my voice, "did you hear what this guy just said?" Is this how companies deal with citizens who ask questions in a democracy? The comments became even more outraged. People started calling for the police, the media. Suddenly, cars started arriving from every direction. It wasn't just the black vans anymore. Regular cars, people with their cell phones filming. Cosmic, what's happening? He looked at his phone and smiled. The UFO community is coming here, and journalists too. In 10 minutes, the street was a zoo. About 30 cars, people filming, people yelling questions at the men in suits. The men in black clearly didn't expect that. They got into their vans and took off. "We did it!" Cosmic yelled. "The power of transparency, Julio!" The crowd that had arrived surrounded our car. Cosmic got out and became the center of attention. He told the whole story. The drones, Skytech, the illegal tests. A guy who introduced himself as a journalist from the LA Times asked, "Do you have proof of what you're saying?" "We do." Cosmic showed the camera. Videos, photos, exact coordinates, times, everything documented. "And does Skytech Solutions really exist?" "Of course it does. Corporate ID 12345-678. Address on Wilshire Boulevard, 1847. Man, Cosmic's level of preparation was impressive. The guy had even memorized the corporate ID. A woman who said she was from CBS asked me, "Julio, how did you get involved in this?" "Look, I just wanted to do a $500 ride," I answered honestly. "But I ended up discovering something that could be very serious for the city." "Do you believe Cosmic's version of the story?" "I saw the lights in the sky. I saw the guys in suits chasing us. I saw them threaten my family. So, yes, something very strange is going on." The reporter wrote everything down. By this point, the live stream had almost 20,000 people watching. Cosmic made sure to show all his equipment, the radio frequency detector, the maps with the marked points, the times of the sightings. "Everyone," he said to the journalists, tonight, Thursday, there will be more activity. Same times, different spots. If you want to come along to document it, we're available." Man, the guy was inviting the entire press corps to a collective UFO hunt. That's when my cell phone rang. It was my sister. "Hello, Julio. Dude, you're all over the internet." "What do you mean?" "Man, you're everywhere. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Uber driver uncovers corporate scheme-testing drones disguised as UFOs." "Seriously? Seriously? You're a meme, bro." "A meme? What a time for my life." "It's even on CNN," he continued. "You're famous." I hung up the phone kind of in shock. Famous because of a fake UFO? Cosmic approached me. "Julio, I need to make you a proposition." "What?" "Do you want to become my official partner in this investigation? 50-50 on everything. Book royalties, documentaries, interviews." "Book? Documentary? Man, this is gonna make for one hell of a story." The Uber driver who unmasked the biggest tech espionage scheme in America. Man, 24 hours ago, I was just a regular Julio driving Uber to pay the bills. Now the guy was talking about a book and a documentary. "Cosmic, can I ask you something?" "Of course." "What's your real deal in all this? Because man, you appeared out of nowhere. You knew exactly where to look. You have top-of-the-line equipment. You even know corporate IDs by heart. Who are you, really?" He was quiet for a while, looking at the commotion around us. Journalists interviewing people, the UFO community crowd exchanging information. Total chaos. "All right, Julio. You deserve to know the whole truth." Finally, "My real name is Ricardo Silva. I have a degree in investigative journalism from UCLA. I freelance for several outlets. But for the last 2 years, I've dedicated myself exclusively to this investigation. 2 years? 2 years, man. I started when my brother, who works at air traffic control at LAX, told me about unidentified objects regularly appearing on radars. Now, things were starting to make sense. Your brother gave you privileged information? Not just him. I have sources at the FAA, the NTSB, even the Air Force. All of them saying the same thing. Unauthorized aerial activity, but with orders from above not to investigate. Orders from above? Department of Defense. Someone very powerful is protecting SkyTech. Holy crap. This thing was much filthier than I imagined. And why did you choose tonight to act? Because today, I discovered the complete test schedule. I have leaked documents here that show they're going to accelerate the experiments. Next week, they're starting tests of interference with cell phone signals. Interference with cell phone signals? Julio, these drones can shut down communication for an entire area. Imagine the power that represents. Man, the scale of this thing was starting to genuinely scare me. Cosmic, we might be getting into some serious trouble. We might. So what? Do you prefer to stay on the sidelines, driving Uber for the rest of your life, or be a part of something that can change the country? The question hit hard. Because really, what chance would I have in life to do something so important? All right, I said. I accept the proposition. 50-50. Partnership. Perfect. He shook my hand. Welcome to investigative journalism, partner. The journalists began to disperse, promising they would follow the developments. The UFO community crowd agreed to meet the next day to plan the next operation. We got back in the car, and Cosmic gave me more details about the scheme. Julio, SkyTech doesn't work alone. They have a partnership with an American company, Dark Sky Technologies. Together, they developed a drone technology that's invisible to radar. Invisible to radar? Completely. That's why commercial pilots can't detect them. They only appear visually, as lights in the sky. And what's the final objective? Mass corporate espionage. They can intercept communications, hack Wi-Fi networks, record conversations from miles away. And they're testing this here in Los Angeles? Los Angeles is the perfect laboratory. Lots of companies, lots of movement. No one is going to suspect some strange lights in the sky. Man, I started thinking about how many times I had seen strange lights in the sky and just ignored them. Was it not the first time this had happened? Cosmic. How long do you think they've been doing these tests? By my calculations, at least a year. But in a more intense way, about 6 months. 6 months of espionage disguised as UFOs. Genius and terrifying at the same time. It was starting to get light out when we got to my place in Inglewood. Cosmic insisted on coming with me, said it was a matter of security. Julio, from now on, you might be a target. You need to take some precautions. What kind of precautions? Don't walk alone. Don't accept anything from strangers. Be careful what you post on social media. Holy crap. It sounded like advice for a witness in an organized crime case. You think they might try something against me? Man, we're talking about millions of dollars in military technology. You think they're going to let this slide? We got to my place, and I noticed a car parked in front of the building. Black sedan, tinted windows. Cosmic. I saw it. Let's drive around the block. We went around the block and the car was still there. Same position. Damn, man. They got here before us. Calm down. Let's think. Do you have somewhere to stay tonight? I do. My ex-wife lives nearby. We have a daughter. She won't say no. Perfect. And I'll stay at a hotel. Tomorrow we'll meet up and continue the investigation. He dropped me off at Carla's, my ex. I quickly explained the situation. She thought I was crazy, but let me sleep on the couch. Julio, for God's sake, what kind of trouble have you gotten yourself into? Carla, I might have discovered the biggest tech espionage scheme in the country. Or you might have completely lost it, she replied, but I could tell by her tone that she was worried. Check Julio Uber UFO on Google. You'll see it's not a hallucination. She grabbed her cell phone and typed it in. Her eyes widened. Holy crap, Julio. You really are everywhere. Yep. And this guy, Cosmic, do you trust him? I paused to think. Did I trust him? The guy had gotten me involved in a dangerous investigation, put me at risk. But on the other hand, everything he'd said so far had been confirmed. I think so, I replied. And even if I don't completely trust him, I'm already in this. There's no turning back. Julio, you have a daughter. Think about that. Carla, it's precisely because I have a daughter that I need to do this. Do you want her to grow up in a country where a company can do espionage without anyone questioning it? She sighed, that familiar sigh. When she sighed like that, it meant she would support me even if she thought I was crazy. All right, but promise me you'll be careful. I promise. I managed to sleep for about 3 hours. I woke up to my cell phone ringing non-stop, calls from unknown numbers, messages on WhatsApp. One of the messages caught my attention. It was from a number I didn't know. Julio, I'm a producer from CBS. We want to buy your story exclusively. $50,000. Call me. $50,000? Holy crap, that was almost 2 years of work for me. Another message. Julio, Netflix here. Interested in a documentary about your experience? Let's talk. Netflix. Holy crap, this thing had escalated way beyond what I imagined. I called Cosmic. Man, I'm getting offers from everywhere. CBS, Netflix. Calm down, Julio. Don't accept anything yet. Let's meet with a lawyer I know, a specialist in copyright law. Okay, but what about the investigation? Aren't we going to continue? Of course we are. In fact, now that it's a public case, it's easier. I have contacts at the FBI who are willing to open an investigation. The FBI? Man, in less than 24 hours, I went from total invisibility to being involved in an FBI investigation. Cosmic, can I ask you a personal question? You can. Do you have a family? Kids? I have a 7-year-old daughter. She lives with her mom in Las Vegas. And you're not afraid of what could happen to you? He was quiet for a while. I am, Julio. I'm very afraid. But you know what I'm even more afraid of? What? Of doing nothing and letting this mess continue to happen. Man, at that moment, I understood that Cosmic wasn't in this for fame or money. The guy really believed in the cause. All right, partner. Let's go all the way. Let's go all the way. And you have no idea what was still to come in this crazy story. Man, if someone had told me that in 48 hours I'd be sitting in an FBI office talking about fake UFOs, I'd have told them to see a psychiatrist. But there I was, on a Tuesday morning, in the FBI field office, explaining to a federal agent how I uncovered a tech espionage scheme. Agent Henry Moore, a serious guy about 50, listened to everything with a stern face. Next to him, a clerk was typing down our every word. Mr. Julio, the agent said, do you understand the seriousness of the accusations you're making? I do, Agent. That's why I brought all the evidence. Cosmic spread the material on the table. Photos, videos, maps, leaked documents, radio frequency records. And you, Cosmic, The agent addressed my partner. How did you get these documents from SkyTech? Confidential source, agent. As a journalist, I can't reveal it. You might not reveal it in an article, but in a criminal investigation, it's different. The tension hung in the air. Cosmic looked at me. I looked at him. Had we gotten ourselves into more trouble than we expected? Agent, I intervened, regardless of how we got the information, the fact is that the lights in the sky are real. A lot of people saw them. Yes, about that. The agent picked up a paper. We've received dozens of calls since yesterday. People reporting sightings, sending in videos. See? The public confirms our version. Or it confirms that there really is something flying illegally over Los Angeles, he corrected. What we still don't know is if your theory about SkyTech is correct. That's when something happened that changed everything. The door opened and a man in a suit walked in. But he wasn't like the men in suits from last night. This one was older, more elegant, with a natural authority. Agent Moore, he introduced himself. I am Dr. Edward Vasconcelos, legal counsel for SkyTech Solutions. I heard my clients are being unfairly accused. Holy crap. They acted fast. Dr. Edward, the agent replied, these gentlemen are here voluntarily providing clarification about unauthorized aerial activity. Perfect. Then I can clarify this right now. My clients have full FAA authorization for the tests they are conducting. The lawyer opened a folder and showed an official document. Authorization issued 3 months ago for tests of technological research drones at specific times, in designated areas, with all safety measures. Man, my heart sank. What if we had completely jumped to conclusions? But Cosmic didn't flinch. Dr. Edward, does this authorization cover corporate espionage, interception of communications, interference with cell phone signals? What espionage? The lawyer laughed. My clients develop environmental monitoring technology. The drones collect data on air pollution, noise levels, temperature. Environmental monitoring? I asked incredulously. Exactly. Los Angeles is one of the most polluted cities in the world. SkyTech was hired by the city to map air quality in different regions. The agent took the document and analyzed it. It seemed legitimate. And what about the men who chased these gentlemen last night? The agent asked. Security team, the lawyer replied calmly. When there's a leak of information about scientific tests, it's necessary to protect the intellectual property. Cosmic and I looked at each other. The lawyer's version made sense. What if we had misinterpreted everything? Dr. Edward, Cosmic insisted, why are the tests done late at night? And why with so much secrecy? Time of least air and ground traffic, less interference in the data collected. And secrecy is standard protocol in technological research. Man, it was starting to look like we had created a conspiracy theory out of a legitimate environmental study. Agent, the agent addressed us, from what I'm seeing, there's no evidence of a crime. The company has authorization. The tests are legal. Wait a minute, I said, because I couldn't accept that it was all a misunderstanding. What about the threats? The guy mentioned my family. Mr. Julio, the lawyer responded, my clients did not threaten anyone. They merely requested that you not photograph research equipment protected by industrial secrecy. Bullshit, Cosmic exploded. I have everything recorded. He grabbed his cell phone and played the recording from the night before. The voice of the man in the suit saying, "Do you have a family?" echoed in the room. The lawyer listened calmly and then said, "A question about a person's family situation does not constitute a threat, Mr. Cosmic. My client was simply showing concern for your well-being in a tense situation. Man, the son of a bitch was good. Very good. He had a comeback for everything. The agent closed the file. Well, gentlemen, from what I see, it's a misunderstanding. The company has legal authorization. There's no evidence of a crime. Agent! Cosmic yelled. At least investigate. Send someone to verify if it's really just environmental research. Mr. Cosmic, with all due respect, but I cannot open an investigation based on a conspiracy theory. If you have new, concrete evidence, you can come back. We left the FBI with our tails between our legs. In the parking lot, Cosmic was furious. Julio, this can't end like this. Man, did we really get carried away? The guy showed an official document. Julio! He shook me by the shoulders. You heard the threats. You saw the chase. This is not standard protocol for environmental research. He was right. Something still didn't add up. Okay, so what do you want to do? Our own investigation. If the FBI won't investigate, we will. We're going to SkyTech headquarters. Boldly. Are you crazy? Julio, think with me. If they're legit, why can't they receive two people interested in their work? It made sense. A serious company doesn't have a problem showing what they do. All right, let's go. We got in the car and went to Beverly Hills. SkyTech's headquarters were in a modern office building on the 22nd floor. We got to the reception, and Cosmic, who was a natural actor, introduced himself. Good afternoon. We're journalists doing a story on technological innovation in Los Angeles. We'd like to learn about SkyTech's work. The receptionist, a young, friendly woman, checked the schedule. Do you have an appointment? No, but it's a very positive story. About companies that are revolutionizing the market. Cosmic smiled that charming smile of his. Let me see if someone from the board can see you. She called someone, talked quietly, and hung up. Dr. Marcos, our technical director, can see you in 15 minutes. Holy crap, it had worked. We waited in the reception area, a modern, high-tech environment, screens showing environmental data from the city. Cosmic, look over there. I pointed at one of the screens. It was a map of Los Angeles, with colored dots spread out. Exactly the same spots where we had seen the UFOs. Environmental data collection points, a voice said from behind us. It was a guy in his 40s, with graying hair and a white lab coat. Dr. Marcos? Cosmic stood up. Exactly. Marcos Henry, technical director of SkyTech. I heard you're journalists? That's right. Cosmic shook his hand. Ricardo Silva, freelancer. This is Julio, my cameraman. Cameraman? The guy never missed an opportunity to improvise. Perfect. Come, I'll show you our lab. We followed Dr. Marcos down a hallway full of rooms with equipment I had no idea what it was. Our main line of research, he explained, is urban environmental monitoring using autonomous drones. We entered a giant room full of computers, screens, maps. This is where the data collected by our equipment is stored. He pointed at the screens. Air quality, noise pollution levels, temperature, humidity. Everything was very convincing, very technical. Dr. Marcos, Cosmic asked, why are the tests done late at night? Less interference. During the day, there's a lot of traffic, a lot of human activity. The data becomes less precise. And the equipment flies in formation? Yes. Data triangulation. Each drone collects information from a different angle. Then we cross-reference everything to get maximum precision. The explanation made perfect sense. Can I see a drone? I asked. Of course. He led us to another room. And man, when I saw the equipment, I almost fell over. They were exactly the shapes we had seen in the sky. Drones the size of small cars, with lights on the edges. Futuristic design. Impressive, isn't it? Dr. Marcos said proudly. Cutting-edge technology. Each one costs about $3 million. 3 million, not 5, like Cosmic had said. But still, a fortune. And are they fully autonomous? Cosmic asked. Completely. We program the route. They execute it on their own. They don't need a BAV-AD pilot. Everything was very clean, very transparent. I was starting to think we had really gotten carried away. Dr. Marcos, Cosmic asked the question he couldn't hold back. Do you really have a contract with the city? We do, yes. I can show you. He opened a file on the computer, a legitimate contract, signed by the Municipal Secretary of the Environment. Contract value, $12 million, he showed us. Term, 2 years. Man, the thing seemed legitimate indeed. We left SkyTech in fee. Silence. In the elevator, Cosmic looked like he was at a funeral. Julio, what if we made all this up? I don't know, man. Looks like it. But the threats? Maybe we just misinterpreted them. We got to the ground floor and headed to the parking lot. It was then that our amateur detective adventure had ended in a big disappointment. But then, man, that's when the plot twist happened that changed everything again. We were getting to the car when my cell phone rang. Unknown number. Hello? Julio? A nervous female voice said. Yes? This is Patricia. I work at SkyTech. I overheard you talking with Dr. Marcos. My heart pounded. And? I need to talk to you guys, urgently. What he showed you isn't even half of the real story. I looked at Cosmic. He had heard. Where do you want to meet? Beverly Center Mall, food court, in an hour. I'll be wearing a red shirt. And she hung up. Cosmic and I looked at each other. The story isn't over, he said. Doesn't look like it. And man, if you thought things were crazy enough already, just wait until you hear what this Patricia was going to tell us. Man, an hour at Beverly Center Mall feels like an eternity when you're waiting for someone who might have explosive information. Cosmic and I sat in the food court, drinking some stale coffee and watching every woman in a red shirt who passed by. Julio, what if it's a trap? Cosmic asked for the 10th time. Man, if it's a trap, we're screwed anyway, I replied, trying to sound braver than I felt. 15 minutes late, a woman in her 30s appeared. Red shirt, hair tied back, glasses. She nervously looked around until she found us. Are you Julio and Cosmic? She asked, sitting down at our table. That's us, Cosmic replied. You're Patricia? I am. Patricia Davis. I've worked as a systems analyst at SkyTech for 2 years. She looked around one more time before continuing. What you saw today at the company is just the facade. The real project is completely different. What do you mean? I asked. The drones really do collect environmental data, but that's only 5% of the operation. The other 95% is something else. What else? Patricia opened a folder and took out some papers. Large-scale corporate espionage. Man, my heart pounded again. Cosmic had been right from the beginning. Explain it better, he asked. SkyTech has confidential contracts with dozens of big companies. They pay to spy on the E2I competition. How does it work? The drones fly over rival companies' headquarters, intercepting communications, hacking Wi-Fi networks, recording conversations through windows. Vibration technology. The drones detect the vibration of the glass caused by voices and convert it into audio. Holy crap. This was straight out of a spy movie. And who are the clients? Cosmic asked. Big banks spying on each other? Construction companies wanting to wait? know about bids, tech companies stealing industrial secrets. She showed a list of names. Man, there were companies I knew, major corporations. Patricia, what you're talking about is a federal crime, I said. I know. That's why I'm talking to you. I can't be an accomplice to this mess anymore. Why didn't you go to the FBI? Because some of SkyTech's clients are so powerful that they have influence even at the FBI. Remember you went to the field office this morning? We remember. 10 minutes after the lawyer got there, the company's board already knew everything you said. Holy crap. A leak within the FBI itself. Patricia, do you have proof of what you're saying? Cosmic asked. I do, but I can't just hand it out. If they find out it was me, we'll protect your identity, Cosmic guaranteed. She hesitated, then took a flash drive out of her purse. Here are audio files, videos, spreadsheets with the contracts. Everything. How much material? 2 years of illegal operations, hundreds of hours of recordings, thousands of intercepted documents. Cosmic took the flash drive as if it were a sacred relic. Patricia, this could bring down the government, he said seriously. It not only could, it will. There are politicians involved, judges, agents, businessmen. It's a giant network. And why did you decide to leak it now? Because next week, they're going to start the next phase of the project. What phase? Monitoring of individuals, not just companies anymore. They want to spy on ordinary citizens. What do you mean? Imagine being able to know everything about anyone in the city. Where they go, who they talk to, what they say on the phone, what websites they access. Man, that was pure dystopia. And who ordered this personal monitoring? I asked. I don't know for sure. I just know the payment comes from outside the country. A lot of money. How much? $50 million. $50 million to spy on people. In Los Angeles? What the hell was this? Patricia, do you know who's behind SkyTech, the real owners? Officially, it's Dr. Edward, the lawyer you met today. But in practice, there are hidden partners. Very powerful people. From the US. US, China, it's international. Man, the scale of this thing was terrifying. And do the company's employees know all this? Most of them don't. Only about 5 or 6 have complete access. The rest think they work with environmental research. Including Dr. Marcos? Dr. Marcos knows everything. He's one of the masterminds of the operation. Son of a bitch. The guy had played the role of an innocent scientist perfectly. Patricia, what's your plan? Cosmic asked. Leak everything. To the press, the FBI, the Department of Justice, congressional committees, wherever it takes. And after? Then I'm going to disappear. I have my passport ready, money saved. You're going to flee the country? I am. These people don't play. Around, Julio. If they find out it was me, no FBI will protect me. The seriousness in her voice gave me chills. Cosmic. We could become targets too, I said. We already are targets, he replied. Since last night. Patricia confirmed. You're being monitored 24 hours a day. Phone, WhatsApp, location. They know everything. How do you know? Because I was the one who programmed your monitoring system. Holy crap. The woman had hacked our lives. You want a tip? She continued. Get new. Cell phones today. And don't go back to your homes. Damn, Patricia. Do we have to hide? For a few weeks, until this story leaks, and you're protected by public exposure. Cosmic put the flash drive in his pocket. Patricia, how are we going to publicize this without getting killed first? I already thought about that. Tomorrow night, there's a live interview on CNN, on the Anderson Cooper show. If you can get there with this bomb, How did you get that? I have a cousin who's a producer there. He got you 15 minutes live, but it has to be explosive. Otherwise, it won't happen. Explosive? How? You go live and show the recordings on national television. Then there's no way to cover it up. Man, the idea was both brilliant and terrifying. Patricia, are you going to appear with us? I can't. I have to disappear before that. But you have enough material to sustain the story alone. She stood up, grabbed her purse. One last thing. Be careful with people you know. They might try to get to you through family, ex-wives, kids. My blood ran cold. My daughter. Patricia, would they harm a child? I don't know. But I wouldn't test it if I were you. She walked away quickly, leaving us there with a nuclear bomb in our hands. Cosmic looked at me. Julio, are you in, or do you want to get out? Man, they talked about my daughter. Now it's personal. Then let's go all the way. We left the mall and went to buy new cell phones. Cosmic paid for 2 prepaid phones, clean numbers. Julio, from now on, we only communicate using these phones, he explained. And no talking at home, in the car, or in enclosed places. They might have bugged everything. Paranoid, but necessary. We went to a hotel downtown, far from the neighborhoods where we lived. Cosmic paid in cash, without any ID. Now, let's look at this material, he said, opening his laptop. Man, when we opened the flash drive, we almost had a heart attack. There were tons of folders. Operation, Federal Reserve, Project Chevron, interceptions, XYZ construction, bids, ExxonMobil, confidential documents. Holy crap, I muttered. This is the scandal of the century. Julio, look at this folder here. Politicians, private conversations. We opened it, and there were audio files of congressmen, senators, even a cabinet minister planning schemes. Cosmic. This could bring down the federal government, I said. It could, and it will. We spent 3 hours analyzing the material. It was too much. Corruption, bribery, influence peddling, leaking of privileged information. Man, now I understand why they offered $50 million, I said. With this information, you can blackmail half the country. That's exactly why we can't leave it in the hands of these people. My new cell phone rang. It was an unknown number. Hello? Julio, it's Carla. I changed my number because some men showed up here asking about you. My heart sank. What men? 2 guys in suits. They said they were from the IRS, but I didn't believe them. And Sophia? I asked desperately, thinking about my daughter. She's fine. I sent her to my mom's house in Orange County. Good. Carla, don't go back home for a few days. You stay at your mom's too. Julio, what the hell have you gotten yourself into? I'll explain later. Now, just take care of our daughter. I hung up the phone with my hands shaking. Cosmic. They went after my family. Son of a bitch. Now there's really no turning back. Tomorrow we go live and blow this whole thing up. We will. But first, you need to do one thing. What? Copies. Make several copies of this material, in different places. If something happens to us, other people will continue. Cosmic was right. We made 10 flash drives with all the material. We sent them by courier to different journalists, human rights lawyers, opposition congressmen. Now, even if they kill us, the information leaks, he said. That night, lying in the hotel bed, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about my daughter, about Carla, about how my life had been turned upside down in 3 days. Cosmic didn't sleep either. He stayed up all night studying the material, preparing arguments for the interview. Julio, tomorrow is going to be the most important day of our lives. he said when it got light out. "Cosmic, can I ask you something?" "Of course. Aren't you afraid of dying?" He was quiet for a while. "I am. Very much. But you know what I'm more afraid of?" "What?" "Of living in a country where this happens and nobody does anything." Man, at that moment I understood that Cosmic was much braver than I was, and that I needed to rise to the occasion. The day went by slowly. We stayed at the hotel, ordered food delivery, studied the material. At 6 in the evening, Cosmic received a call. "Hello. Yes. Confirmed? Perfect. We'll be there at 8. He hung up. "Julio, it's confirmed. 8:30 tonight. Live on CNN. And what if they try to stop us? That's why we're going to get there at the last minute. No time for them to react." At 7:30, we left the hotel. On the way to the CNN studios in Hollywood, Cosmic gave me the final instructions. "Julio, let me handle the technical part. You tell your story as a driver, how you discovered everything. And if they ask about Patricia, we protect her. We say the information came from a confidential source inside the company." "Cosmic, do you think we can pull this off?" Man, in an hour, the entire country is going to know the truth. There's no turning back now. We arrived at CNN at 8:15. The producer, Patricia's cousin, greeted us. "Did you bring the material?" "We did." Cosmic showed him the flash drive. "Perfect. I'll take it to the technicians to get it ready. You're on live in 10 minutes. 10 minutes to change the history of the country." In the makeup room, while the makeup artist was powdering our faces, Cosmic held my hand. "Partner, no matter what happens afterward, know that it was an honor to work with you." "The honor was mine, man." "Julio Santos Silva and Ricardo Silva to the studio, please," a voice announced. It was showtime. We entered the studio and sat in front of the host. The cameras turned on. The red light lit up. "Good evening," the host said. "We are here with Julio Santos, a rideshare driver, and Ricardo Silva, an investigative journalist who claimed to have uncovered the biggest tech espionage scheme in American history." And so began the interview that would change our lives forever. Man, sitting on a live TV news desk to talk about an international conspiracy is one of the most tense experiences there is. The studio lights were blinding, the camera looked like a cannon pointed at my face, and the host, Anderson Cooper, had that serious look of someone who knew things were about to get real. "So, Mr. Julio," he began, "you claim you discovered all this through a simple Uber ride?" "That's right, Anderson," I replied, trying to control my nerves. "It started as a $500 ride to look for UFOs. It ended up becoming the biggest investigation of my life." "And, Mr. Ricardo, how long have you been working on this investigation?" 2 years, Cosmic answered confidently. "But only now have we gotten irrefutable proof." "What kind of proof?" Cosmic signaled to the technician, who aired the audio we had brought. Man, when that recording of a congressman arranging for a bribe started playing, the whole studio went silent. It was the voice of Representative Carlos Jenkins, a well-known politician, calmly talking about how to distribute $2 million in illegal cash. "My God," the host murmured. "Is this real?" "Completely real," Cosmic confirmed. "We have hundreds of hours of recordings like this." "And how did you obtain this material?" "A confidential source inside the company, responsible for the espionage. Someone who couldn't be an accomplice to this anymore." The host looked at the camera. "Viewers, what you are hearing are conversations illegally intercepted by a private company, hired by large corporations to spy on rivals, politicians, and ordinary citizens." They put more audio on the air. This time it was a Supreme Court justice arranging a favorable judicial decision in exchange for a condo in Miami. Man, you could see on the faces of the people in the studio that no one believed what they were hearing. Mr. Ricardo, the host, continued, "Do you have any idea of the scale of what you're exposing? Total. That's why we decided to go public. This scheme involves businessmen, politicians, judges. It's a network of corruption and espionage that has been operating for years." That's when things started to get interesting. The host's cell phone rang. He looked at it, frowned. "Folks, I'm getting information from the production team that the FBI has just launched an operation at SkyTech Solutions headquarters. Cosmic." And I looked at each other. The bomb had exploded. "What do you mean?" I asked. "Apparently, based on your allegations and the material you sent in previously, the FBI secured a search warrant. At this moment, they are there collecting equipment and documents." Man, it was like a giant weight had been lifted from my shoulders. "Anderson," Cosmic said, "this proves our complaint is legitimate. The justice system acted fast because the evidence is undeniable. And there's more." The host looked at another paper that had just arrived. "The Department of Justice has just announced it will open an investigation to look into all the politicians cited in the recordings." Man, in 15 minutes of a live interview, we had managed to bring down a scheme that had been going on for years. "Gentlemen," the host addressed us, "do you realize you may have changed the political history of the country?" "We just did what any citizen should do," I replied. "Expose a crime." But it wasn't just any citizen, Mr. Julio. It was a rideshare driver who was willing to risk everything to expose the truth. At that moment, I felt incredibly proud. Proud of myself, of Cosmic, of having done the right thing. "Anderson," Cosmic said, "I want to take this opportunity to send a message to the viewers. Never accept that powerful people can do whatever they want just because they think no one is watching. There's always someone watching. There's always someone willing to expose them. And what about your future? Aren't you afraid of retaliation?" "We are," I replied. "But now that the story is public, it's harder for them to act against us." In addition, Cosmic added, "we spread copies of the material to dozens of people. If something happens to us, others will continue." The host looked at the camera. "Viewers, we have just witnessed one of the most impactful revelations in the history of American journalism. A rideshare driver and an investigative journalist may have brought down a network of corruption that went from organized crime to the federal government." The interview ended, and man, it was insane. As soon as we were off the air, the studio turned into chaos. Phones ringing, people running, journalists wanting interviews. Julio, Cosmic, the producer, approached us. "Do you want to do more interviews? I have 60 Minutes, The Daily Show, a segment with John Oliver." "We do," Cosmic replied. "But first, we're going to take care of our safety." We left CNN and, man, the sidewalk was full of people. People yelling, "Congratulations! You're heroes!" Clapping. "Cosmic, we really became celebrities," I said, impressed. "Julio, we've become a symbol. A symbol that the average person can stand up to the system." In the car, my phone wouldn't stop ringing. Calls from newspapers, magazines, radio stations, TV channels. One of the calls caught my attention. It was Carla. "Julio, oh my God, you're everywhere. How's Sophia?" "She's good," she said. "She's proud of her dad." She said, "You're a hero." Man, hearing that from my daughter was better than any award. "Carla, you can go back home now. Those guys were arrested." "Seriously?" "Seriously. The FBI has already arrested half of them." "Julio, I always knew you were special." It was the first time since our divorce that she had said that. In the following days, it was complete madness. A congressional hearing was established, dozens of arrests, an international scandal. Skytech was revealed to have connections with Chinese and Russian companies. The espionage scheme was much bigger than we imagined. They weren't just spying on American businessmen. They were passing strategic information to foreign governments. Cosmic and I became consultants for the Congressional Committee. They paid each of us $10,000 a week. "Julio," Cosmic said at one of the meetings, "do you realize we went from a rideshare driver and unemployed to consultants for the U.S. Congress? Man, 3 months ago, I was worried about paying the electricity bill. Today, I'm helping investigate international espionage." Life had changed completely. But the best part came 2 months later. Cosmic was right about the book and the documentary. Netflix bought our story for $2 million. UFOs, the Rideshare Conspiracy, became a 6-episode series. Penguin Random House published The Driver Who Discovered the Truth, which became a bestseller. Cosmic opened a journalistic investigation consultancy. I became a partner. "Julio, you know something?" he said on the day we inaugurated the office. "Tell me, if someone had told me I'd get rich by investigating fake UFOs, I'd have thought they were crazy." Yeah, life is crazy. And you know what's even crazier? What? We were just doing the right thing. And doing the right thing paid off. Man, 6 months after that night when I picked up Cosmic on Hollywood Boulevard, my life had completely changed. I went from total invisibility to being recognized on the street. I went from a rideshare driver to a businessman. I went from being in debt to a millionaire. But most importantly, I helped clean up some of the mess in this country. Oh, and about Patricia? She managed to flee to Canada before the FBI operation. Last week, she sent a message saying she got political asylum and is working for a human rights NGO. The guys from Skytech? Dr. Edward got 15 years. Dr. Marcos, 12. The others involved, between 2 and 8 years each. And the politicians from the recordings? Man, it was a clean sweep. 12 congressmen impeached, 3 senators, 2 cabinet members resigned, 1 Supreme Court justice was forced into retirement. The country changed, at least a little bit. Epilogue. You know what I learned from this whole story? That sometimes life puts you in the right place, at the right time, to make a difference. If I hadn't accepted that weird $500 ride, if I hadn't agreed to investigate with Cosmic, if we hadn't had the courage to go all the way, how many corruption schemes would still be going on? How many companies would still be spied on? How many citizens would still be illegally monitored? Sometimes we think we can't change anything, that we're too small to make a difference. But man, I was just a rideshare driver. And look what happened. The truth always finds a way to come out. Sometimes it just needs someone brave enough to give it a voice. And if one day you find yourself in a similar situation, at a crossroads between doing the right thing and doing the easy thing, remember the story of Julio and Cosmic. Remember that 2 normal guys managed to take down an international espionage scheme. Remember that it's worth fighting for the truth. Because in the end, man, what matters most isn't the money you make or the fame you get. What matters most is being able to look in the mirror and know that you did the right thing. And that feeling, man, is priceless.